Welcome to the Private School Leader Podcast, where private school leaders learn how to thrive and not just survive as they serve and lead their schools. I strongly believe that it is possible to have a long and happy and fulfilling career as a private school leader. And my passion is to help you figure out exactly how to do just that right here on the Private School Leader Podcast. And I'm your host, Mark Minkus. So in the fall of 1988, I was a sophomore in college, and I wasn't happy with my schedule. And the reason is because I needed Anatomy 101 in the fall so that I could take Anatomy 201 in the spring. And the problem was that, they let the seniors schedule first and the juniors schedule second. I'm not sure why seniors and juniors were enrolling in Anatomy 101, but the class was full. And to make matters worse, my college didn't offer Anatomy 101 in the spring. And so not getting in the fall was going to have a really big impact and mess up my schedule the next year as well. And so, of course, what I'm talking about is something that's a prerequisite. And the dictionary definition of the word prerequisite is something that must exist or happen before something else can exist or happen. So we're pretty clear on the definition of that. But I also want to talk about confidence today, and the definition of confidence is the quality of being certain of our abilities. And so sometimes private school leaders, when we do something really, really hard, really difficult, we wish that we felt more confident. But the only way to gain confidence doing a hard thing is by actually doing the hard thing. And I know that that's easier said than done, but a lack of confidence can cause a lot of problems for us as leaders, but it doesn't have to continue to cause problems for you. So on today's episode of the Private School Leader Podcast, we are going to discuss the fact that confidence is a result, not a prerequisite. And I've got a free resource for you just to say thank you for listening to the podcast. The 6 things that every private school teacher wants from their leader. And this is a 6-page PDF that I think can be a game changer for you. And I guarantee you that if you do these 6 things, that the teachers at your school will be happy to follow you. And so you can get your free guide at theprivateschoolleader.com/guide. Again, you can grab the free PDF, the 6 things that every private school teacher wants from their leader, over there at theprivateschoolleader.com/guide. And then just a reminder that I would love to work with you one-on-one, hear more about the biggest struggle that you've had this school year, hear about your biggest goal for self-improvement. I have helped dozens of private school leaders all over the United States, and I would really like to work with you. And so if you want to learn more about coaching, you can go to theprivateschoolleader.com/coaching, or you can just shoot me an email at mark.o.minkus@gmail.com, and we can book a free 20-minute discovery call and just get to know you and what's going on with you a little bit more. So again, would love to work with you, would love to be your coach. And so on today's episode, I told you that the title is that confidence is a result, not a prerequisite. So that's kind of my premise for this episode. And that's where we're going to start. But then after that, I'm going to give you 4 outcomes of a lack of confidence. So as a private school leader, if you're lacking in confidence, what are the 4 outcomes of that? And of course, we're going to get tactical and strategic. I'm going to give you 5 strategies to help you grow your confidence. But first, what is this premise that I'm putting out there that confidence is a result, not a prerequisite? I actually think that this is worth talking about and that it's a really big deal because I mentioned that I do coaching, and I talk to a lot of my coaching clients, and a lot of them are out here earning their Academy Awards pretending to be confident in situations where they lack confidence. And I wonder if I just described you. Are there certain things at school that you do, and while you're doing it, you're earning your Academy Award, looking competent, looking confident as you do it, because on the inside, you're very much the opposite of that. So I think that what happens is that a lot of private school leaders think, well, I'll do that once I feel more confident. I'll get to that. I'll start doing that when I feel more confident in that. So it might be observing teachers, or it might be dealing with difficult parents. Sometimes we don't have a choice, but there are things like strategic plan or accreditation or budget, finance things, facility things, especially capital improvements, where we're like, well, I'll do that when I feel more confident in that area. But the problem is that I believe that confidence almost never arrives first. I think that what comes first is competence. So I want you to think about it this way. Competence comes first. Experience comes first. Repetition comes first. So if you have competence and experience and repetition, competence, experience, and repetition, and you just keep building those reps, the confidence will follow. The confidence will come. And so it's a problem when we feel like we should feel more confident in a situation. And so I want you to think about literally anything that you've ever become good at, or maybe even just average at that thing. You didn't feel confident the first time that you did it. And so whether it was riding a bike or changing a diaper or driving a car or baking a cake or handling an angry parent or leading your first faculty meeting or going to your first board meeting or managing a crisis, every time that we did those things for the first time, I don't know about you, but I felt awkward and uncomfortable and scared and uncertain and had a feeling, in my stomach when I did those things. It felt wobbly, and that's why I brought up riding a bike. You didn't know how to ride a bike, but then you learned, but it was wobbly and you fell and it was uncomfortable and it was scary. And then all of a sudden, the experience of trying to ride a bike and the competence started to improve. And of course, the repetition of you trying and falling and trying and falling, that eventually you were able to figure it out. And then you were confident and you didn't even really think about riding a bike anymore. But I think that a lot of private school leaders misinterpret discomfort as evidence that they shouldn't do something. Let me say that again, okay? I want you to lean in and hear this. In my experience, a lot of private school leaders misinterpret discomfort, and they think it's evidence that they shouldn't do the thing. And so when something is new and they feel uncomfortable about it, then it's like, well, I must not be ready. And honestly, some leaders stay stuck there for years. Some leaders stay stuck there for their whole career. And they're waiting for a feeling that's never going to come because it only comes after they take action. And I'm not saying that you do this with everything, but maybe there's one or two or three things in your leadership. We don't all feel competent and confident in all of the areas that we handle as private school leaders. Maybe in your school you feel confident and competent when it comes to teachers and parents and students, but you feel the opposite when it comes to facilities and finance and fundraising. And so this is not a one-size-fits-all kind of situation. This is something where you have to apply it to you specifically. You don't become confident and then all of a sudden you're confident and then you start doing the thing courageously and with confidence. What we do is that the courage has to be there, and then the confidence will follow. I talked about competence and experience and repetition And I'd add courage to that. And if we keep just trying and keep plugging away with those things, then our confidence will grow. And I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say it's a courageous conversation with a teacher. You know, you get that feeling on the inside, right? You get that chill down your spine. Almost, I don't even know if I know of any private school leaders that feel super confident or look forward to having the difficult conversation with a veteran teacher, let's say. But when you don't have the confidence and you reach for the courage and you have that conversation and you survive it, and then you have another one and another one and another one, at some point you feel like, okay, I can actually do this. I don't like it. I don't want to do it, but I can do it. And another phrase a quote that I came across, a phrase that I really liked when I was preparing for this episode is that confidence is accumulated evidence. Confidence is accumulated evidence. The more we do the thing, the more we have the courageous conversation, the more that we have a professional meeting with an upset parent, the more that we deal with a student discipline issue, the more that we navigate the board members, then that's accumulating evidence that we can do it, and that's when our confidence starts to grow. And then that evidence creates this belief that we can do it, and then I think that the belief creates the confidence. So again, I said that the premise for this episode is that confidence is a result, not a prerequisite. I just really want you to latch on to that, because I think that not feeling confident is causing a lot of problems for a lot of private school leaders. And so then I want to pivot into 4 outcomes. I called them outcomes because I was being nice, but really 4 problems that come from a lack of confidence with private school leaders. Problem number 1 is inaction. When we lack confidence, we pump the brakes. We hesitate. We don't take action. And when we hesitate, when we delay, when we procrastinate, when we don't take action, then this can that we're kicking down the road are important decisions or conversations that need to be had, or holding someone accountable, or it even could be like boundaries between school and home, and we're just not dealing with it. And so let's face it, these problems in our schools, rarely do they ever improve with time alone, just with time. Like, not with support and progress and meetings and check-ins and a performance improvement plan. But if you have a student that's, let's say, problematic with their behavior, or you have a veteran prickly teacher, just time passing without anything else, that problem almost never gets better by itself. And I know, because I was too chicken to have those conversations early in my career, and I would tuck myself into, well, they just need more time, it'll get better. And I was wrong. I was wrong every time. And so I think that we are not overwhelmed because we have too much to do. Now, I know that you have too much to do, okay, but I want you to hear me out here. I think that if we just took everything that we have to do and we did that, I think we could do it some of the time, most of the time, without feeling super overwhelmed. But stay with me here. I know you're rolling your eyes right now. Stay with me. I think if we take all of our tasks, okay, and we put them here, are they doable or not doable? Let's say barely doable, okay? But what we're putting on top of those tasks is all of the things that we've delayed that we should have addressed earlier. How many of the things that are on our plate are things that if we had had more confidence, that we would have dealt with them sooner before they became bigger problems? Now, I'm not a person who believes in living in the past. Our situation is what it is as of today. Let's take stock. Let's figure out exactly where we are. let's create a plan, and I'm going to give you a plan in a minute, and let's move forward. But confidence grows through us taking action, not through us pretending that something's going to get better. So the first problem that a lack of confidence causes is a lack of action. Problem number 2 is imposter syndrome. This comes up a lot in the coaching calls that I do with my coaching clients. Imposter syndrome, I have clients who have been ahead of school for 10 years. They've done a capital campaign. They've had to expel the child of a board member. They've had, fill in the blank with sort of the bingo card of really hard things for a private school leader to do. And they've done these things, and yet they still feel like an imposter. They still feel like they're one decision away from everything falling apart. And the definition of imposter syndrome is that when something good happens, it's luck, and when something bad happens, it's proof. And this is especially true if you're new to your role. If you're in your first year as head of school or principal or division head or whatever. But that imposter syndrome, it's almost like this little thing that whispers in our ear that like, you aren't qualified, you can't do this, you're not good enough. I've had it. You have probably had it. I just told you that many highly competent leaders that I work with have it. But why? I think that it's because our schools are such complex environments. I've talked about this before. We've got so many different stakeholders: students, parents, coaches, board members, teachers, grandparents, alumni, donors. We've got all kinds of, parents of the students. We've got parents of the graduates. We've got all of these people in the community. We've got all of these different stakeholders, and they all have things that they want from the school. And all of those things intersect, and the point of intersection is your desk. It's a very complex organization with a lot of stakeholders, with a lot of competing priorities and expectations, and throw the emotional component in there too, because what we do is emotional work. That feels uncertain. That feels wobbly. I think complex environments expose us to a lot of uncertainty, and then when we have that, we don't feel confident. But feelings aren't facts, and when our brain is faced with something, it is designed to kick in fight or flight response and get us to shut down or get us to feel sick on the inside. But I'm telling you, when it comes to imposter syndrome, this is a big problem, and it's because of how we're interpreting the things that are happening around us. And so, like I said, imposter syndrome, the definition is when good things happen, it's luck, and when bad things happen, it's proof. And so the second big problem with a lack of confidence is imposter syndrome. And then problem number three is over-reliance on people-pleasing. I used to be a people-pleaser. I know a lot of you listening are people-pleasers. We are servant leaders, and we want to serve. We want to work hard. We want to take good care of people, but sometimes that goes from helping to rescuing. Sometimes it goes from doing a good job to people-pleasing. And people that lack confidence often become driven by approval. I was driven by approval for 15 years or more. Leaders that lack confidence. First 15 years of my career, I lacked confidence. I was addicted to approval. And what that caused me to do, though, was to over-explain my decisions, and I really wanted to avoid disappointing people. And so then I would say yes to parents who were making unreasonable requests, or yes to teachers who were making unreasonable requests. And then I wanted approval from, my board chair, and so then I would work weekends and weeknights and have no boundaries between school and home so that I could get approval from, my boss. And I was afraid of criticism because I was insecure and not confident and needed approval. And so that caused me to be defensive. And then I would say yes to things way too often. And then that led to me being burnt out. You see what I'm getting at here? It's like, you might not at face value see how a lack of confidence could lead to all of those things that I just mentioned. But if a lack of confidence leads to people pleasing and being driven by approval, then that's exactly where this leads. And so confident leadership, if we're confident leaders, we can tolerate temporary discomfort. All of you are good at tolerating temporary discomfort. And that can include the discomfort of disappointing someone by telling them no. We can handle temporary discomfort even if you are leaning way over on that side of the fence as a people pleaser. You can tolerate the temporary discomfort of disappointing somebody, if that means you have to tell them no because it's the right thing. And then problem number 4, as I see it, with a lack of confidence is that when we play small, we stay in safe mode. We don't challenge an unhealthy system. I don't hold a veteran teacher accountable if I'm playing it safe. I don't believe big things for our campus or big things for our school are possible. I wouldn't have, if I stayed in that safe mode, I wouldn't have brought responsive classroom I wouldn't have assisted with the implementation of responsive classroom into our school. I don't want to make it sound like it was my idea and I was the champion for it. I helped to implement it. If in my 10th year in my 8th year as a head of school, a big building project and accreditation and, getting my master's degree at night and a big fundraising campaign all at the same time while our kids were 2, 4, and 6 around that time. I would have never been able to do any of that if I stayed in safe mode. Boy, it was so hard. It was so hard because I was afraid of judgment. I was afraid of failing. And so if you play small, you don't have to worry about failing. But I've found that the times that I've played small and I didn't talk to that teacher, or I've played small and I didn't implement that initiative, instead, I avoided the discomfort, but then it's replaced with a lot of regret. I have a lot of regrets. I don't dwell on them because I've moved on, but I'm just trying to help you to recognize that a lack of confidence sometimes leads to us playing small. So, as I said before, I like to be strategic on this podcast, and so I'm going to give you 5 strategies to help you grow your confidence. Okay, strategy number 1, keep small promises to yourself. So I really think that confidence is really connected to self-trust, because if you trust yourself, you're confident that you can do a thing, but if you don't trust yourself, you're not confident. So how do you build self-trust? That seems like a really vague, nebulous thing, but when you consistently do what you say you're going to do, you grow to trust yourself more. And that doesn't work with huge, giant promises, but it does work with small ones. Because giant promises, I kind of equate that to like a New Year's resolution or quitting smoking cold turkey. Or I'm going to lose 30 pounds in the next, month. Those are giant things that then hardly ever happen. But if we make small promises to ourselves, and remember I said strategy number 1 is to keep small promises to yourself. If we make small promises like, I will call that parent, I will address this student issue, I will leave school today by 5:30 p.m., I will do pop-ins today and walk around the classroom, I will talk to that teacher that was unprofessional in the teacher workroom. Every time you keep a small promise with yourself, that builds the evidence, and then the evidence builds the confidence. So it's like, how can you improve your confidence? It's by improving your self-trust. How can you trust yourself more? Make small promises to yourself and then keep those promises. Okay, that brings us to strategy number 2. Take action before you feel ready. The key word in that is before. Take action before you feel ready. I used to think, well, once I feel confident, then I'll do that thing. Once I feel confident, then I'll take on that teacher that's been here for 15 years. Or once I feel confident, I'll do this thing with the budget. Or once I feel confident, I will, do a better job with teacher observations, because I always felt like the teachers, of course, always knew more than I did in their content areas. And so who am I to observe them? And so I did a lousy job with observing teachers for several years. But remember what we talked about before, about doing and about experience and about repetition. So the order of things is take action, gain experience, get more confidence. Take action, gain experience, get more confidence. It is not, I'm confident now, and so now I will take action. Because if you wait on that feeling of confidence to arrive before you take action, you're almost never going to do the hard things. We have to move before the confidence shows up. I've said it before, you've heard me say it. When you don't have the confidence, reach for the courage. So that is a situation where you aren't confident enough to do the thing, but you're doing it anyways because you reached for the courage and it was temporary. And then the more you do those things, little by little, the taking action builds the experience, and then the confidence will come. And number 3 is probably my favorite. Strategy number 3 is to borrow confidence from your past. And you've heard me talk about the windshield and the rearview mirror and how the windshield is gigantic, but the rearview mirror is small. Sometimes in our leadership, when we're feeling like we can't do something, we need to look back on all of the things that we've done before. Because you've already navigated, many of you listening navigated COVID as a leader. You've navigated difficult things, difficult situations, and you've come up with elegant solutions to very complex problems. You've led your school through challenges. You've had meetings with parents who were upset. You've said no to enrolling people. You've not renewed contracts, or maybe you've even fired someone partway through the school year. You've done hard things before. There is evidence that exists. But we often are so busy that we forget our own track record. I believe that private school leaders are so busy that we forget our own track record. And that's why it's so important for you to have a positive comments Google Doc. And I'm going to drop a link to episode 37 in the show notes. The show notes are at theprivateschoolleader.com/episode 186. And episode 37 is about having a positive comments Google Doc and having a Google Doc that has the word accomplishments at the top. And then when you're feeling like you don't know what you're doing, you go back and you read through your positive comments Google Doc. Because in the moment, we're never going to feel like we know what we are doing when we're doing a really hard thing. And we're also, when we're starting to feel emotionally dysregulated, we are not going to remember the things that we've done before. And so I don't want you to have to remember. I just want you to open a Google Doc and read it. So episode 37, go back and listen to it. I'll link it in the show notes. If you listen to that episode and you apply it, it is going to change your level of confidence over the next 6 to 12 months. All right, and then the last two, we'll get to those now. Strategy number 4 is stop interpreting discomfort as failure. Stop interpreting discomfort as failure. This is a mindset shift. Discomfort is not always a warning sign, but our fight or flight response thinks it is. I've said many times, and I think this is an important thing for private school leaders to remember, is that your fight or flight response works really well with physical threats, and it is terrible with psychological and existential threats. And almost all of the time, what we deal with as private school leaders are psychological and existential threats. And so when there's discomfort over that board meeting or that teacher observation or that conversation with a parent who wants to enroll their kid, but we can't meet their needs or whatever, when that discomfort happens, then our fight or flight response thinks we're in danger. And when we're in danger, we run away from the grizzly bear. When we're feeling like this existential or psychological threat is a physical threat, then we're just going to avoid it and we're not going to do it. And so you can do uncomfortable things. You've done uncomfortable things in your life. And so, again, stop interpreting discomfort as failure. And that brings us to strategy number 5, and that is to build competence. Remember I said that competence plus experience plus repetition, that builds confidence? So it isn't that you just have to believe in yourself more, quote unquote, or try harder or whatever. Sometimes what it is that you need to grow as a leader. So you can read the books, go to my website, theprivateschooleader.com/top 10. There's a page of what I think are the top 10 leadership books, the top 10 TED Talks, the top 10 productivity books. You could continue to listen to this podcast, and if you listen to this podcast and you take action, and I always give you a call to action at the end of every episode. If you do that and you take action, even some of the time, you're going to grow as a leader. You can download the PDFs that I talk about every week that are additional things about board meetings and about protecting your school from a lawsuit and about teacher morale and difficult parents. You grow yourself as a leader, build competence, learn and practice and prepare and build systems. Those are things that are going to build your competence, and then your competence will build your confidence. And one of the things that could help you grow is to seek coaching. Most private school leaders have never had a leadership coach. And whether it's me or somebody else, it can help you tremendously. And I'd love to work with you one-on-one. I told you that. privateschooleader.com/coaching. You can read testimonials from 24 people that I've worked with. But that's up to you how you grow. But competence, if you build your competence, then the confidence will come. So what are the big takeaways from today's episode? I told you 5 strategies to help you grow your confidence. Number 1, keep small promises to yourself. Number 2, take action before you feel ready. Number 3, borrow confidence from your past. Number 4, stop interpreting discomfort as failure. And strategy number 5 is to build competence. And your call to action today is to pick one of these 5 strategies and take one action this week to build your confidence in the area where you feel least confident in your leadership. And a quick reminder that you can grab the 6 things that every private school teacher wants from their leader by going to theprivateschooleader.com/guide to grab that free PDF. And I really would love to hear from you. You can shoot me an email at mark.o.minkus@gmail.com. If you get help from the podcast, please share the link with another leader in your life or a rising leader at your school. And I've been your host, Mark Minkus. I appreciate you, all of your hard work that you're doing at your school for those lucky kids and those lucky teachers. Thank you again for taking some of your precious time to join me here today. And I'll see you next time right here on the Private School Leader Podcast. And until then, always remember to serve first, lead second, and make a difference.